My dad told me that he has resented me since I was 12 years old. How am I supposed to handle that? How am I supposed to keep a relationship with him? I got in a huge fight with my dad the last time he was at my apartment. I still live with my mom, but I am on the lease and pay rent. When I was 12 and my brother was 5, my mom cheated on my dad. He worked on the road, and I guess being isolated and away from us so long at a time, he became bitter and aggressive. I don't know the full extent of it, but I did know that he had a temper and at times scared me. It was never directed at me or my brother, but we would get caught in the crosshairs sometimes. So my mom cheated on my dad while he was away. I never said a word. Both of my parents have explosive tempers, and I guess it conditioned me to not handle confrontation. Well, I was terrified of how he would react, what he would do, and what it would mean for our family. So, 12 years old me did what was easiest, what I did every time my parents had a conflict with each other: shut up and ignored it until it could blow over. He found out eventually, but I don't know exactly how or what happened because we kids were kept far away from that. My mom got pregnant, and not long after having her boyfriend's baby, her boyfriend died. My dad started coming back around. We still had visits with him during this whole thing, and they were always so fun. He spoiled the hell out of my brother and I, and as long as mom or her boyfriend were never brought up, everything seemed fine. After mom's boyfriend died, my dad actually grew close with my little sister. She's 5 now. He's always had a soft spot for kids. With all his yelling, ranting, and temper, it was never directed at us. So flash forward to a few months ago. My dad had been staying over at our apartment for about a month at that point. We live 6 HRs away from each other, and he had come down to us for my high school graduation. He had started to get agitated like he always got when he was near mom for too long. My mom had some out-of-town business and had left that day. My brother was at a friend's house and my little sister was with our grandma. I went shopping with my grandma and sister, and she dropped me back off at the apartment. My dad had been acting off all day, and she offered to let me stay with her. I said it was fine. I thought I could just ignore him when he was like that, like I always had. So I'm sitting on the couch watching TV at like 10 p.m. when he starts ranting. You know, if I just hadn't gone to your stupid graduation, I would be home making money right now. MHM. What would you have rather I did? Whatever was right for you. He rants for about 20 minutes about how awful my mom is, how awful the stupid town we were in was, how he's broke. He lost his traveling job about 6 months before and was now doing freelance jobs with his buddy. He then said, "Would it be a dick move if I just reported your mom and got you all kicked out of here?" Yeah. Do you want your kids to be homeless? My kids? Do you want to talk about my kids? Were you my kids when you didn't tell me your mom was being a WHE? When I look at you and your brother, that's the only thing I think about. I have resented both of you for not saying a damn thing to me for a year. I have resented you this whole time. The only person here that I ever feel bad about leaving is your little sister because she's never lied to me. He started going on and on, screaming, throwing his hands around, slamming the front door, and then coming back inside to rant some more, getting in my face yelling. I never said a word. I was paralyzed on the couch. He never hit me, but I was convinced that if I even breathed wrong, he would. I was holding my breath, waiting for him to finish screaming and leave. That was the most scared of him I had ever been. The second he was gone, I called my grandma sobbing, asking her to come pick me up. As I stood down the sidewalk in the middle of the night crying, I was terrified he would catch me leaving. I had no clue what he would do and how he would react. I kept looking over my shoulder, cursing how long my grandma was taking. I refused to go back to the apartment until my mom was back in town, even though I knew he was gone. Just 2 months later, I found myself visiting him in person, and we hugged, like it never even happened. I stayed at his house and went to the beach with him and my brother, like it never even happened. I don't handle confrontation well, but hugging him, saying, "I love you," it made me feel gross. I feel gross whenever I'm near him now. I feel scared, like he's a bomb that could go off any second. Now he's coming to visit us again. The same week, I planned to pierce my lip. He despises body modification and didn't talk to my mom for weeks when she got a tattoo. I am actually terribly of him visiting again, but my brother and sister love him, and they don't need the stress. Should I just shut up and ignore it like I've been doing? Should I still pierce my lip while he's here like I plan to, even though I know he'll hate it? What do I do? On the one hand, he's my dad, and I love him. I have a lifetime of pleasant and loving memories with him. Do I let the few bad ones ruin it? I'm actually nauseous at the idea of him visiting. Comment. There's a real possibility that he will rip the piercing out of your lip. He has very little self-control, and you are no longer protected from his rages because you're no longer a kid. If it were me, I would have cut him off already. He's being arrogant, blaming children for what his wife did years ago and pointing all his fingers at everyone but himself. You might have some wonderful memories with your father, but these outbursts are gonna put a strain on your relationship with him. Especially with what he says while in these outbursts, like how he said he resents you and how your mom is a $W and at E because of what she did. Cheating isn't ever an excuse, but that doesn't mean that you get to take it out on your children who were absolutely innocent in the situation. He's clearly angry with your mom still and is taking it out on you because he knows that he needs to go to therapy to help himself if he's even willing to do so. If you start to do things that he doesn't like getting a tattoo, piercing, and so on. These things are only going to worsen these outbursts, which will put a strain on your relationship. Family therapy might be a good option for you and him, but there's a chance that he won't be willing to do that, and if he's not willing to help these outbursts, then it will only make your relationship with him become worse and worse until one of you has had enough. Your father obviously has a serious anger control problem. I've had anger problems too, in the past. He was absolutely wrong to explode on you and get violent with everything around him. Likely, the loss of his job and all the stresses and frustrations with that have been building up for some time. It's not an excuse, but it may be a reason. Before he arrives again, tell him how you feel. Maybe in an email. Maybe in a video call. Maybe just a regular phone call. However you think is best, tell him your side of things from when you were 12 and didn't say anything. Tell him he can't ever blow up like that again or you won't be part of his life. Remind him that you and the other kids love him and respect him greatly. That doesn't mean you should tolerate his outbursts. If he does that again, I would consider cutting all contact until he learns to control himself. Next story 2. My friend isn't respecting my boundaries after a situationship gone wrong. How can I make sure that I am respected in this friend group? I'll start off by saying that I never made my boundaries clear, so I'm not blaming my friend here. I just need to hear advice from an outside perspective because this is eating me up inside. Also, I apologize that this post will be all over the place. I'm still trying to process my emotions. I met a boy through my friend. He's her boyfriend's best friend. We all became a friend group, but according to him, he was attracted to me when he first saw me, so we started flirting. When we first started talking, I was also flirting, but I never thought it would lead anywhere cause I wasn't attracted to him. A month in, we decided to start talking and see where it leads. This was my first time ever catching feelings for someone. I had a lot of my first experiences with this boy. After a month of talking, he decided to ghost me without any explanation. I know this is a really short time, but I really liked him and this took a really big emotional toll on me. Right around the time he started becoming distant, my friend was having trouble with her boyfriend, completely her boyfriend's fault, so she started asking his friend for advice. I was completely fine with them casually talking, since she did introduce him to me. Later on, I learned that he kind of replaced me with my friend. Everything we would typically talk about, he started talking about to her. He talked to her every day. A lot of their conversations did revolve around her boyfriend or me, but a lot of it didn't. She finally admitted to me that one of her other friends thinks he has feelings for her, and I admitted that I think the same thing. But it kind of crushed me inside to admit this out loud. She told me multiple times that she would cut communication with him if I asked her to, but I felt pathetic having to ask. Now it's been more month of me and him not talking than when we were talking, so I feel so stupid for not being over it already. But every time I'm with her and I see her texting him or FaceTiming him and laughing, it kind of breaks me inside. And I don't know how to get over this feeling. All four of us sometimes hang out together and I act casual around him then. But he still hasn't apologized to me or given me any type of explanation. I tried talking to him multiple times. I think he thinks we're good now just because I act friendly with him in a group setting or when talking in the group chat, but I'm really not okay. My friend's boyfriend also has an idea about what's going on, but he's not saying anything. He's just telling my friend not to hang out with him but doesn't even know how often they text. I just really don't know what to do. On one hand, I want to tell him we're not friends and leave, but on the other hand, I want him to feel like he lost something if I do leave, and with my friend in his life, he'll never feel that way. And that's why I feel the need to stay in this friend group, even though I feel like I'm being used by all of them. I know how pathetic I sound, so please give me some advice without judging me, because I really don't think I can take any more judgment. And yes, I still have feelings for him even though I tell everyone I don't. Should I leave this friend group? And if I do, how should I go about it? If I don't, how should I make sure that I don't feel replaced? I want him to realize what he lost.